Good evening. We call to order the regular meeting of West Valley City Council. We note that we have 6 council members in attendance. I don't know what meeting I'm thinking of. Councilwoman Karen Lang is excused tonight. We're starting just a few minutes late. We were just completing our study meeting. But we're ready to go now. And our opening ceremony is next on our agenda. We turn to Councilmember Don Christensen for that.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight is our opening As our opening ceremony, we have a performing group called Sistema Strings, and they will be performing for us our national anthem, as I understand it, right?
That would be a good way to start every council meeting.
It would be.
Thank you very much for coming. We certainly appreciated that and very impressed with the skills and abilities that you have. Keep up the good work, and certainly it added to our meeting tonight. Thank you very much. Then with that, next item on our agenda will be our approval of the minutes of August 14th.
Mayor, I move to approve the minutes for August 14th.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, then all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. It passes unanimously. The minutes are approved. Next, we go to, on our agenda is a proclamation on Lights On After School Day in West Valley City. So, this is also Councilman Don Christensen.
Right, Mayor. Thank you. They asked me to read this proclamation because it concerns those students that you just saw. Whereas high-quality after-school programs not only keep young people healthy and safe, but help foster meaningful relationships, inspire learning and career pathways, promote civic engagement and community service, provide worthwhile and challenging activities, develop talents and strengths, and increase overall success in school life. And research indicates high-quality after-school programs that provide expanded learning opportunities for young people outside the school day helps to improve academic achievement, increase attendance and social behavior, and support working families. And whereas in Utah, 17% of K through 12 youth are responsible for taking care of themselves after school. And that 17% of our K through 12 youth represent 99,148 students. Whereas of all Utah children not currently enrolled in after school, 47% would be likely to participate if an after-school program were available in their community, and 92% of parents are satisfied with the after-school program their child attends, and 73% of after-school programs are located in a public school building, and 10% of Utah's K through 12 children participate in after-school programs, including 7,192 kids in programs supported by the U.S. Department of Education's 21st Century Community Learning Centers initiative, the only federal program dedicated to after school. And whereas American Preparatory Academy has an average of 560 students attending after-school programs each day between two sites in over 30 different after-school programs, including 15 study halls, 15 study hall sessions each day, kindergarten through 12th grade, including special ed tutoring. Sustaining Utah music programs, which include percussion, strings, as we heard tonight, wind and brass instruments, as well as voice training and music theory, robotics, coding club, Latin club, game clubs, math tutoring, writing history club, engineering club, dance club, math minds olympiads, 3D printing club, anime club, art club, improv club, and knitting club. Anything I missed? Good, okay. Also included in after-school programs are 2 performing groups featuring advanced students. Sistema Strings with violin, viola, and cello students, as well as the Sistema Pep Band. Whereas Lights On After School is a celebration of after-school programs promoting the critical importance of quality programs for youth by ensuring lights stay on and doors remain open for all youth during the out-of-school time hours. Now therefore, we, Mayor Ron Bigelow, and the City Council of West Valley City do hereby declare August 24th, 2018 as Lights On After School Day in West Valley City in honor of American Preparatory Academy's after-school programs and all of the other after-school programs that were mentioned in the 21st Century Grant, because there are several in our city. And this has been passed and approved today by the City Council. Thank you very much for your after-school programs and for sharing your talent with us. Thank you.
All right. And as is typical, they're welcome to stay, but usually most don't. But they're part of the program.
That's because they're advanced students. They know when to leave.
Okay. Next on our agenda is the comment period, public comments. We will set aside 30 minutes maximum, and individuals have signed up to speak. They can speak for up to 5 minutes. It is not a debate or question and answer time. If you ask questions, they will not be answered during your time. The time you have is yours to use as you see fit. All comments are directed to the mayor, not to individual council members. You get to speak once, and come up and introduce yourself by name and your address. so that we have that on record. And with that, yeah. Oh, let's see, that's right. Look here. There is a public hearing with Amatec Group, this application Z-2 2018. If you're here to speak to that, the multiple dwelling units for the property at 6500 South, 5600 West approximately. Please do not use your public comment time for that. We will have a separate one for that. But the separate one must deal only with that issue. The public comment period is unlimited. You could speak to any issue. But it would be much better if you're going to speak to this one to speak during that public comment period. Because there may be comments or questions during that. Okay? With that then, let's see if I can determine some of these, they signed them instead of printing their names. So I'll do my best. Okay? Let's see, Jan Markland. If you would like to come forward and speak. While she's coming up, I will mention that if an issue is brought up, we typically will not debate it because we are prohibited by debating any policy issue or discussing it unless it is on our agenda so that the public is aware and can be here to hear what we're doing. That's to protect the public, that we don't do anything without giving everyone fair warning. So we will determine some of these may go on our agenda for next week. May. We'll talk about that at the end.
Okay.
Your name and address.
Jan Markland, and I'm 2775 West Bedford Road. And do I speak to who?
Just talk to me.
Okay.
I'll listen.
Okay. I just wanted to make something clear. We were told that the piece of property on 2700 West, everybody was notified by mail on this, that the zoning was being changed. And it showed that everybody received letters on this. And I just wanted to make it clear, we didn't receive it. And there's no one that I have talked to on that area that they received it either. The only thing we ever agreed to was changing the zoning from the agricultural to the residential. And that was simply because when we met, West Valley City was going to assist in getting a senior citizen center on that piece of property. And there's a lot of people in our subdivision that was very thrilled with thinking about having a senior citizen down there. We would have very well put our house on the market and would have moved down there. But it fell through, and I was told that they couldn't make enough money if they made a senior citizen center. Now there's a new project going down there. As far as I am concerned, we did not receive any notice about this. We had a gentleman stop my husband in the front yard just stating that there is a program, it's been approved, and don't be surprised, you know, if somebody tears your fence down and puts plastic fence up, which kind of surprised us because we had no idea there was a project even going down there. We would like very much to work with West Valley City to get something down there. It really has been a problem for us. We've been in our home for 42 years now, and we have gone out there with our lawnmower and we've cleaned down weeds and all this stuff off of that flat area. West Valley City said they had no way of doing this. So I think all the citizens along there have taken care of it. We would like to work with you to see if something can be done with that property. But I know there is a program now that they say that has already been approved. We looked over that and we're not too happy with it. Just about all I have to say is we would like to work with you.
Thank you. Okay, the next person,
Sean Haney?
Yes.
yes, there we go.
This is the same property. I live on 2759 West Bedford Road. And when they're coming up on the fence, they're saying they're gonna intrude in on our property 5 feet. They're saying that our property line is not on the right spot with 8 houses down there. And I got 6 20-foot spruce. It's all landscaped. I got a lot of money involved in what I've done. And they said they were just gonna come in there and cut those big trees down that I planted. And he said, "Oh, I'll plant some more trees." Well, you know how long it takes a spruce to grow. I'll be 80 years old before one even gets in close to what I got planted out there. And that's what everybody's basically here for, is about wanting to take 5 feet of all of our property. And that whole line is all been landscaped, everybody got beautiful backyards. And they can't even do anything with that area because it's an access road. So it doesn't make sense, they don't just put the fence up right to where the fences already are. I've been there for 20 years, and it don't seem like that they can do that, to come in there and take that much property from all of us without even, you know, writing this, you know, having a council meeting on it or whatever. That's all I can say.
Okay, thank you. Ron?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You owe something. Okay.
I just saw them on the end of the street where they're supposedly gonna take back, and I've heard up to like 11 feet of my backyard, which 3 feet off of my backyard is my garage. They're gonna take the whole corner of my garage out. And not only that, the fence line continues on through that property. They don't stop there. The next subdivision, the next line of houses, and the smaller units on that other property, the property line will follow that same line. And it ends right there where that property line is. How can they just come and say, you know, they're gonna take 11 feet of my property? And like, you know, 11 years ago I got it and had a legal description of it, and they tell you that's your fence and that's your property. And last night I hear they're gonna come in and take, you know, a big part of my garage out. You're kind of, now I know the Rounds brothers, I believe, was the ones that was gonna do the development. I figured, you know, they're usually gonna take their course, they're gonna just eventually put something back there. But when they come in and tell you they're taking quite a hunk of your property and messing with your garage and everything else, it just, you know, don't seem right. Especially, you know, this is the first I've heard of it. As far as them taking our property line. You know, the fences have been there, they said they've been there for 43 years, you know, and I've only lived there 11. But yeah, that's all I really have to say.
Thank you. Let's see, Stan Barkland? And again, your name and address. I had his address, he wrote it down, so.
Stan Markland, 2775 Bedford Road. Well, I guess you know where I'm at. Same place the rest of these people are. But I've been there 42 years, and this property line has never came up before. It's never came up before in 42 years. And I want to know about the grandfather clock. There's got to be something that says I don't have to move my fence after 40 years. This just is not right. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Pat Markland.
Pat Markland. I'm the daughter of Stan and Jan here. I don't actually reside in West Valley City.
Okay.
Am I still able to speak?
Yeah, just give your address.
Okay, my address is 1660 East, 900 South in Clearfield, Utah. The parcel that they're referring to is at 4530 South. It backs the driver's training course. My parents are the only original owners of those 8 houses on Bedford Road that this is affecting. I think this Brad Reynolds stopped my dad in the driveway on Sunday and said, just want to let you know, in the next 30 days things are going to start happening. Well, they've since got conflicting information from West Valley City saying nothing has been approved on this. But according to this Reynolds gentleman, he's causing panic with everyone, saying, this is a done deal, your fences are all wrong, and I'm moving in. Well, the fact of the matter is my parents moved in 1976. The fence lines that are there were determined by Granger. There was an irrigation ditch there that was open when those houses were built. They put a fence to keep the children out of that ditch until they could get it covered over. Granger did covered in that ditch. Granger put up the property line fence that is existing today that all of these homeowners have gone by. There's laws to protect these homeowners. Agreed boundary, adverse possession. I mean, there's all kinds of laws on the book that protect these people, that they don't have to demolish 40 years of maintaining a property that was told was theirs over 40 years ago. These houses have changed hands how many times between buying and selling, and surveys have been done, appraisals have been done, title searches have been done, and never once has a fence line come into play. Never once has it been questioned in 42 years. But now they're going to throw all these people's lives up in the air so that this developer can do whatever he wants to do. I think they just want some clarification. And the fact that everyone was caught off guard and not given any notification of any hearings, and now all of a sudden they're just told it's a done deal, that you have no say in it. You know, they just want some peace of mind that this isn't going to happen to their residents. Another thing they would like to know is, has any of the reports been done on the adverse effect on this? They're talking 147 homes. As of this morning, Granite School District knew nothing of this development. Shouldn't Granite School District be aware that they're going to have hundreds of children, potentially hundreds of children impacting their district? What about the traffic that's going to, 2700 West is already a nightmare on rush hour. And you're going to add all this congestion, no lights to accommodate it. It's caused a lot of grief for a lot of people so far, and they just want a peace of mind that this isn't going to happen.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak in our public comment period? Seeing no one else? Okay, thank you. We'll come back to the council. Mr. Pyle, any comments?
No, I don't have any report tonight, Mayor. I did check just down a couple of levels to the question of the folks here. We're gonna have to get some information from them and figure out what's going on. We don't know what's going on, so we'll get back.
Council members, Councilman Bueller?
I hope that my comments will be helpful and informative, and I'm going to just comment on the item that's been brought to us tonight, even though this isn't a policy discussion or debate. First of all, it's a matter of how the city works. We don't decide what people do with their property or what they build on their property, except in a very general way by zoning, that if it's zoned commercial, there are certain things you can build, if it's zoned residential, and so forth. And then in the building permit process, where they have to build according to certain standards, so they have to build something allowed by zoning and to appropriate safe standards for building. As far as determining boundary lines, That is certainly a very important issue. This is an issue that comes up a lot because a lot of homes are not where they might be described as being. The land itself shifts sometimes. But this body, neither the city council nor the city courts have any jurisdiction to determine boundary lines. That needs to be brought in a district court matter. And there are certainly real estate attorneys. I am not one, but there are certainly real estate attorneys that deal with these kinds of issues and could help determine an actual legal boundary, where it is or where it ought to be, or where, you know, if it's a boundary by acquiescence or adverse possession or whatever your remedies are, and look at determining that in the appropriate forum. We just don't have the power to determine that. It's just not part of what we can do.
Councilman Young?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to echo what the city manager mentioned to you. Is I'm not aware, personally, I'm not aware of this situation. I don't know what the information came from. That we're going to figure out. Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, now, there's only been one, if I could kind of generally classify it, one issue that's been brought up relating to this boundary issue that I was unaware of. It's the first I've heard it tonight. And so what we'll do, we'll add it to our study agenda, because although we can't officially determine the line, you know, we can't officially say, no, this is your property line or not. I think we can determine if there is an issue there and just get some general information and then see, you know, what's going on. Is that correct?
Well, for sure, we can determine what's happening, what the situation is, and yes, Mayor, we can determine whether or what our involvement in it might be, and bring that back to you, for sure.
Yeah, okay. Because I would certainly like to be aware of this issue, because if that's happening, if it's that someone made a mistake years ago and the property line's wrong, or you know, just what's going on. Sometimes, and there's been one, and I don't know if they took that one to court, the property, the fence line where the developer tore it out and also tore out some irrigation pipe and everything else. I think you remember that one, and that one I think will end up, they'll have to go to court to solve it. But it is helpful just to be aware of what is going on in the city. So let's add that to our agenda for next week under our potential future agenda items, and we'll go from there. So thank you. You're certainly welcome all to stay, but that's all we'll discuss on it tonight. We'll put it on our agenda for a discussion item for our study meeting next week at 4:30. Okay? But you're certainly welcome to stay. It gets really exciting. Maybe not. We think it's exciting.
Sorry, can we come back next week to hear what's going on?
Check our agenda. It'll be on our agenda for the 4:30 meeting. In our 4:30 meeting, we tend to have more robust discussion. In fact, if you stay and watch us, I encourage you to, but we'll talk about some issues. We may not discuss them very much, because there was a meeting last week where we spent a couple of hours going over these and other issues. And so a lot of our questions were answered. So, but this part is the formal official action taking, where we actually vote. We don't vote in our study meeting. So, and you're all welcome to come to that. It is, let's see. So, this meeting is, it's an open meeting. Generally, we don't take a lot of comment there. We just have a discussion on the issue, gathering information and understanding the issue. So with that, we'll now move on to the next item on our agenda, which also happens to be a public hearing, but it's to a specific item. And this public hearing is held because that's the way state law is set up. So, on application Z-2-2018 filed by Amatec Group, it's a zone change from C2 to RM. This is property located at 6500 South, 5600 West, approximately. It's a large piece of property there. We will also, in conjunction with that, consider our action on ordinance 18-26 to make that zone change, and then resolution 18-118 for a development agreement on that 43, almost 44 acres of ground located there. This property is south of Walmart. It actually came before us before we continued it to have a few questions answered that didn't seem to have been answered at the time, even in our study meeting. And so there's going to be a development of townhomes, which is it's already zoned for a portion of that. The next portion was a senior citizen, I guess, senior housing, but they're apartments, right? And I'm trying to remember, I wasn't here last week for the discussion, I was out of town, but I'm trying to remember from several weeks ago. So if I miss something important, the council needs to jump in. And then there will be 2 commercial lots right on 5600 West. And so that in general is the issue before us. So with that general introduction, anything else you want to bring up? If not, then we'll go to public comment, and we will open then to the public comment on this application and ordinance and resolution for that piece of property. Is there anyone here to speak to that? Yes, sir. Come up, and you already know, introduce yourself by name and address.
My name is Kerry Wynn, representing the owner of AIM Tech Group. That's at 8138 South State Street in Midvale, Utah. So I just wanted to just take a second and acknowledge your help. We've been working on this project for the last couple of years to make it compliant and beneficial for everybody. I wanted to give a special shout out to Steve Pastrick for his help in coordinating all that effort. And so we're in compliance. We are in agreement with everything that has been presented. Just wanted to acknowledge and give our thanks after we've been working on this for so long, and the help we've received from the city and Steve and his staff.
Okay.
So I have no complaints, if that's what you want. Thank you.
Well, it isn't what we want, it's just we're surprised not to have a complaint.
Pardon me?
It isn't what we want, but we're surprised not to.
Yeah.
And I did have some questions on it, but and we may ask you to respond to those in a minute, but let's see if there's anyone else to speak to this issue. Yes.
My name is Derek Johnson. I live at 5802 West, 6635 South, so my house borders it, so my fence is right along that property. And then, so listening to these other people talk, I'm a little concerned. I don't want to, have my property taken. And I don't have much information, so I'm wondering if there's a good way to get more information about this. So I'm glad to hear it's townhomes and a senior citizen place. So, and I don't know if you're willing to chat after, but I think I'm just a little concerned and want to know more information. So, thanks.
Just for your information, there are documents attached to our agenda, so if you went on the internet and you went to this item on our agenda, you would see that there's some documents attached that describe the project in more detail with some suggested design of the project, where it's located and all. So.
Okay, so I went on there. Are those links on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Oh.
Yeah, if you click on the agenda item, it will bring up a list of items. I go on in fact, I'm using the internet right now, and that's how I get to them.
Okay.
And it'll bring up a sidebar, just on the side, and you have to go down through various different ones. Some of it's our official language for it, some's property description, so things like that.
Okay.
But it'll give you more information as well.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else to speak to this? Now, and maybe it was just me, but when this was first discussed, I brought up 3 items. One was parking, and I think that's been discussed, and I think the council's now pretty comfortable with that. The second was exterior materials, and the developer made some changes there, and I think that's fairly resolved. I didn't hear much on that. The other one I raised but didn't get addressed was just the interior quality of the project as to how it compared with other projects. And that one was a little nebulous, and so that really didn't get answered for me, so that's one I'm still struggling a little with. They said the other items were pretty well in line, and I guess I didn't pursue that well enough in the other meeting. But anyway, so that was the only question I was left with, how it compared with other projects we've been recently doing. Though we have no requirements, they've met all the requirements, I'll make that clear, under our current code to what they were doing within the building. So they've met all those requirements. But a lot of builders or developers have actually exceeded those requirements. And I was just curious if they had as well, but I think they didn't. I think it's just, is that correct? Yeah, okay. So with that then, I didn't officially close the public comment period. Any further comments? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment portion, bring it back to the council. Councilman Young.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it very much. Excuse me. One concern I have is the senior housing. And I need that kind of security for these people, because these people are very, very much the most vulnerable people. And that corner right there is the 56, let me check the address again, 6500 South and 5600 West, and we know that that area is close to current area and also this nearby the Kmart, and we have a number of problems in the Kmart area. There, I personally been there a couple of times with police officer, with the complaint from the Walmart employees and manager there. So I'm concerned about it, and to me, the senior people need to be protected, and we need to have a gate for this senior housing, also a wall or something that can go around to protect these people, because I think we need to do that. We have a number of senior housing such as Hunter or somewhere on Redwood Road. We also have the gate for these people, and so I'm thinking, I'm not concerned about the townhouse. I think it's wonderful for 5600 West to commercial lots on 5600 West. I'm okay with that. I have no problem with those. But one concern I have is security for senior housing for those people, and I think we need to protect them. But here, mine's only the person voiced that concern, so maybe you don't have to go every single one of them to please every single one of the council member. You can get a majority vote so you can pass for this one, but that's I want to say something to the public hearing tonight.
I have a comment to explain how I see the project. The only thing that we are determining is whether 8 acres should be rezoned. And this is a 44-acre project. The majority of the project could be developed to the standard that it's already in our code. The question is, they want the project to be that full 44 acres, including the 8 acres that are not zoned appropriately for what they want to build. So they've come to the council to ask us to rezone those 8 acres, 8.39 acres, so that they can develop their 44 acres in this comprehensive plan that they've developed. And in order to induce us to change the zoning on those 8 acres instead of just building on the remaining 36 acres, as they have increased some of the requirements under the law. They've increased or improved the exterior product and increased the parking. And, if we deny this rezone of 8 acres, they can still develop the senior housing, the townhomes and so forth on the 36 acres, but they won't have to meet the improvements that they have brought to us as an incentive to change the zoning on the 8. I think I went around in a big circle there. Hopefully that was clear to somebody. But with that, I think that this is a good project. It certainly complies with the zoning for the majority of the land that's in question that they want to develop. We're just adding a little bit to that so they can develop the project they have planned. And for the improvement in the project that they brought back to us, I think that it's worthwhile to let them build this on their land. And I would move that we change the zoning, adopting ordinance 1826. Yes, 1826.
I would agree with Councilman Bueller that this issue is a zoning proposition which is before us. I take every vote seriously, especially in my district, and this one I'm very confident because of the number of people that I've talked to who live in the area, the depth of insight and information sharing from the city with the residents as well, and really weighing out the benefit and loss of not rezoning versus rezoning. And for those reasons, I second that motion.
Okay. Any further comments? Okay. Just on this issue, and I don't know, this looks like an older picture, but hasn't similar property been developed in a very close proximity to that? Already some townhomes from the same developer or not?
Not in that area, not at that location. sir.
Okay. Must be mixing it up with another one.
We did approve the zoning for the lot that's part of this on the west a year or two ago.
Okay, but they haven't built anything there yet. Okay. Okay. I just appreciate that clarification. I was trying to call up the picture here and finally got it, so it looks empty. With that then, seeing no further comment, then we will turn to our city recorder for a roll call vote.
Councilman P.T. Simonu?
Aye.
Councilman Bueller?
Aye.
Councilman Hune?
No.
Councilman Christensen?
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt?
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow?
Yes.
Motion passes by majority.
Thank you. And though I would have liked seen a few changes, you met all the requirements, so I was comfortable with the vote. Next, we have the development agreement to the council.
Mayor, I move for approval of resolution 18-118, the development agreement.
Second. Would you accept a caveat that they look at security for especially the senior and memory care units? Possible fencing or something of that nature.
So an amendment to the motion that they consider that?
Mhm.
Sure. Amend the motion with the caveat that they consider security for the residents there. Is that appropriate motion?
We need to think about this just a little bit. The motion
Motion,
is to approve it.
right.
Approve the zone change.
Yeah.
And request.
Well, this one now,
The development agreement, a
In the
request.
development agreement, just asking them in their development agreement to look at that possibility.
Well, in their development, the development agreement would be approved if it passes. But
Yeah.
that's a pretty soft request, I think.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out what that means. I mean, it's like we would encourage them But probably at this point, that wouldn't carry a whole lot of weight if
That's what
it's approved.
I think we have encouraged to consider it already.
Okay, that's fine.
You know, it just, I think it's very, very concerning for the senior citizen. I have no problem with the townhouse and the commercial. I think we need to have that on 5600 West. But the senior citizen, we need to protect them.
Okay, maybe, Mr. Pyle, staff maybe can help us with the parliamentary issue here. If we approve it, of course, it goes forward. If we don't approve the development agreement, say, we want you to consider adding a fence around that, is that even appropriate at this point? Would it carry any weight, or?
I might be a little confused on the question, Mayor. I'm so sorry. You're saying, will the development agreement be in effect if it's approved? Or are you saying, will the zone change be in effect if the development agreement isn't approved? So
Oh, no, the zone change is already passed.
happened, right?
Okay, the development agreement hasn't. If we don't pass that, and we say, we want you to consider another item before you bring back the development agreement.
As
I'm just trying to figure out a way that, how we would
Maybe I
legally do
can
that.
clear it up a little bit too. As I'm looking at the renderings that they have, it looks to me like the two lots right on 56 are going to be retail commercial lots. And so they would probably have a fence between that and the residential anyway.
Is that a cinder block fence?
I don't know if it's, I believe masonry wall is required between residential and C2. So yes, they would have to do that.
So that would
cover the one side.
my request, yeah.
They would. So are you suggesting withdraw?
I'm going to withdraw my comment.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll withdraw my amendment. So we have a
Unless
motion.
you want to make more comments on it.
Well, you know, we all see this, where the bad people are going to rob residents in this in our city. It targets the senior citizen, and we are the representative for the people in our city. What are we going to do? We have to protect them. You know, so if we were them, are we worried? Yes, we would worry. And it's not the. It is a good area, but also the adjacent to Kearns and also the adjacent to Walmart is one of the guy came to Walmart multiple times, like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, and went into the garden area and went inside of Walmart and stole some valuable stuff. But I mean, not only once, multiple times.
So Councilman Huen, can I clarify, are you concerned about some sort of security around the senior housing?
Yes, at the gate.
You mean a fence? Do you mean
A
staff?
A fence, no need the staff, but a fence and a gate, community, to people that can go in there with the code number. On Redwood Road, the people, they were happy with that. And most of them, the senior citizen. Hunter, the same thing.
The only way I could see accomplishing that would be to not pass the development agreement and to request them to come back with a proposal that includes security. But in order to change that, since there's currently a motion on the floor, it would have to be a substitute motion with a second.
But here, I'm a minority here. Basically, I'm just only one that voiced this matter. And it does not matter for me to basically just minority vote. That's critical.
I thought Councilman Christensen might be leaning that way, but I guess he withdrew, and so there is no motion. I'm just trying to help the council, whatever they want to do. So there is a valid motion before us. If there's no substitute motion and there's no further discussion, then we turn to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Norfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hume,
No.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes by majority.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see, next we have resolutions, and we'll start with 18-133. This is to authorize the acceptance of a SAFER grant from FEMA to hire 15 new firefighters. As I recall, this is a grant, and the grant has a kind of phase-in. They will provide some funding during the first, second, and third years. Let's see, first and second years they would pay 75% of their wages and benefits, and then 35% in the third year. Starting the fourth year, West Valley City will be responsible for 100% of the new employees' wages and benefits. And during that time, the city will agree not to drop below 110 line personnel, meaning the current line personnel plus the 15. So, is this grant different? We're required, if we accept the grant, we do have to fund it during the fourth year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's still that same standard. So regardless, we would have to continue this through the fourth year. However, the only thing I would like to say, that's the issue before us, and that is that if in fact we accept this grant and hire 15 new officers for 4 years, I'll get the numbers in the right place soon, that there is an extremely high likelihood that this council will simply almost automatically approve continuing those officers, those firefighters, excuse me, because there would be no reason not to have them at that point. And it would be a very difficult thing to, at that point in time, unless, I mean, we're in the middle of a deep recession or depression, we would say, you know, we're going to fund that. So that you're aware, for those 15 individuals, assuming starting wages, and that basically being the same, Mr. Powell gave me the number of about $855,000 a year. That runs about $57,000 a firefighter, which is the standard, you know, starting wage, I guess. So, although we're not voting on that, it's almost a commitment. It's as close as you can get to a commitment without voting. And so I raise it only for information purposes, that we will be incurring that cost in the future.
Future councils could always decide not to fund police or fire or road construction or anything else. And they could make that decision. But the way I look at it is, we build a new fire station, we found a grant to fund staffing it, to ease us into that, 75% for the next 2 years and 35% in the third year. And if we keep it staffed and don't close down another station, we will of course have to pay for staff.
Yeah. In fact, as I recall during that discussion when we approved the building, the discussion was on that, and at that point I think we talked about approximately, they gave us a round number of, I think, was it 1.5 or was it 1.2?
1.2 sounds correct to me, Mayor.
Yeah, maybe it was
And of course that's a rough estimate for the total operation of the station. So that would include personnel, lights, fuel, equipment, you know,
So there'll probably be some additional,
oh, for sure.
yeah, costs coming through. And at that time I had the same discussion. You weren't here, I don't think, but and I said, you know, by approving this, we're to some degree we're making a commitment that we're not going to build a fire station and not staff it. We're going to staff that, so we're somewhat committing ourselves to that path, although we're not officially doing it.
We're not sending fire trucks without hoses, we're not building stations without staffing, and we're trying to protect our residents.
We're
And this
actually
gives
going
us the
to
4 years to work it into the budget without any problem.
right. So we do actually plan on providing firefighters with equipment, you know, protective gear. Yeah, I think that's kind of implied too, the whole
All
thing.
that.
Okay, but I do like to make that clear. With that then, I'll try not to do that with all of these, so. To the council.
I move for approval of Resolution 18-133.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Hume.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Norfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, next we have Resolution 18-134. This is for the purchase of 4 vehicles from Young Ford, not to exceed $118,000. 3 Ford F-50 Super Cabs and 1 Ford F-50 Super Crew Cab. And that is the issue before us, to purchase that. I think this falls within the regular rotation of vehicles, fairly routine, expensive but routine. With that introduction, then to the council.
I move for approval, Resolution 18-143.
134. 134.
Yeah, 134.
Second.
Property before us, seeing no further discussion, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Norfelt.
Yes.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Hume.
Aye.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, next is Resolution 18-135. This is to purchase 7 vehicles from Ken Garf Ford. And these again are replacement vehicles. Only one is a little unexpected, but still has to be replaced. The vehicle was severely damaged, and we'll just leave it at that. The total cost on that's not to exceed $191,000. We do have some vehicles that are destroyed in the order of business, and so these are 6 Ford Transit Connect vehicles, and then 1 Ford Explorer, for a total of the $191,000. That is the issue before us. To the council.
Move to approve Resolution 18-135.
Thank goodness only the vehicle was severely damaged. I'll second that resolution.
Seeing no further discussion, to our city recorder for the roll call vote.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Hume.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Norfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, Resolution 18-136. This is for $287,000. This is on our annual contract on treating roads, our roadways, with asphalt polymer treatment. And the contract is with Morgan Pavement Maintenance. And so, I forgot now how he explained that, but it's
It's a continuation of the contract already in force, because
oh, that's right.
they were able to do it less expensively than any new bidders.
Yeah. And so this was additional roadway, I think 184,000 square yards. And so they added it to the existing contract rather than doing it as a separate bid, because it turned out to be more economically feasible. With that introduction, to the council.
It's a good job, Russ. I just want to make a comment before I make a motion. It's a good job for the public work department. It's great. I will move forward for this one at Resolution 18-136.
Second.
Property before us, seeing no further discussion, to our city recorder.
Councilman Norfelt.
Yes.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Hume.
Aye.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next, we have Resolution 18-137, a cooperative agreement between our city and Salt Lake County for transportation funds. Kind of a unique situation as it looks here, but it's really the process that has been set up by state legislation and county process. $750,000 for construction of Klima Drive between Masters Drive and 5600 West. Many would note here that the light that has gone in there at 5600 West, right there at 3800 South, I think it is approximately, is already functioning and part of the roadway there is being done. If you look at this, it says the funds go to Ascent Academy, the charter school, but they have to build the road in connection with city requirements and meet all state requirements, etc. That's just the way the legislation was set up, so that's the way it's done. To the council.
I move for approval of Resolution 18-137.
Second.
Properly before us, seeing no further discussion, to the city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfeld.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next, we have Resolution 18-138. It's a cooperative, interlocal cooperative agreement, but, excuse me. Oh, yes. Okay, this is our agreement then with Ascent Academy. That's why I accidentally clicked on the wrong one. I said, there we go. For that particular project, because now that the funds will come through to us, we have to pass them on. And so the paperwork all has to be complete. That's the best explanation I can give. So with that then, this interlocal agreement between us and Ascent Academy, Resolution 18-138 to the council.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 18-138.
Second.
Properly before us, seeing no further discussion, to the city recorder.
Councilman Nordfeld.
Yes.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next is Resolution 18-139, a cooperative agreement between us and UDOT for the disposal of stormwater waste. And they agreed to pay us a fee of $500 for some storm drains that they have and clean out that would be more efficient for them to come to the city rather than transporting it somewhere else. They only have a few of these, and it seems to be, and the city is protected if there are any, or indemnified. Ooh, I like that. I can use a legal term. Yeah. Indemnify the city for any fines, penalties that may result if there's anything toxic or hazardous materials that are brought to us. With that, to the council.
Move for approval of Resolution 18-139.
Second.
Properly for us, seeing no further comment, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Nordfeld.
Yes.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Consent agenda. These are items that are fairly routine. These are resolutions 18-141 through 18-155. There are 15. 14 of them apply to our 4100 South project. Some of those may not necessarily be this year that they're worked on, but include quitclaim deeds with temporary construction easements generally, or a warranty deed, and so those are fairly straightforward. We've done a lot of them. I'm sure we'll do more. Except for number 15, which is a quitclaim deed from the Board of Education of Granite School District. Let's see, this is at Westlake Junior High, I believe.
Valley.
Excuse me, Valley Junior High, that's right, 3200 West. Okay, I'll get it right. I think, wait a minute, is that right? Yes. Valley, oh yes, it's Valley over there. I just got them reversed. 32, I was thinking 3200 West, but I said Westlake. That's because they gave me a t-shirt, so said they're a STEM school. So I always think of them, so it's a good chance to thank them again. Then this actually is a piece of ground based upon county records. The property that the school district owns, its property description actually extends out into the road. And so the portion that's under the road is being deeded to the city because we have total use of it anyway, and the Board of Education, Granite School District can't use it for anything. So it's just one of those old pieces of ground or property descriptions that was never cleared, so this clears it up. We get one of these every so often. Kind of like, remember the guy that bought one of those at a property tax sale and was part of, was it 2700 West? And then he wanted the city to buy it from him. That was a fun one. Anyway, that's this is the consent agenda, and so to the council.
Mayor, move for approval of the 15 items on the consent agenda.
Second.
Property before us, seeing no further discussion, to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Hume.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfeld.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
And I think that completes our business. Any further comments before we adjourn? Thank you very much. Actually, it's been a long time since I've been with the council because I took last week off and we didn't meet for 3 weeks, so it's been a month. Great to be back with you. Thank you for your great work. And so,
Move to adjourn.
all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. We're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.